Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I've done a little bit of videos, a few videos on mobile applications, mobile development. I was doing a lot of work in that space before I really started delving hard into Simple Programmer, but I still like that space a lot and I still follow it. And I'm actually changing my stance on something here. So I've got a question, I thought this was interesting, about hybrid apps. This is, hi John, I wanted to know your thoughts on hybrid apps. In the past posts, you've explained the importance of getting into mobile development due to growth in web consumption via mobile devices. The numbers also back this up. In the past, apps that were built using HTML/CSS and JavaScript weren't seen as a strong, viable route to not having that, due to not having that native feel. However, I have seen some real advancements in the past couple of years, specifically with Ionic, that I like to think are closing the gap. As a .NET guy and brand new to mobile development, I guess my question is, am I taking the easy way out by completely bypassing learning Swift and Java and just focusing on frameworks like Ionic? In which case, I should really start focusing on Swift and Java or even Xamarin, or am I staying on solid ground taking the hybrid app path? Thank you. And this is from Jason. So, about 2 years ago, I would have said absolutely you have to be doing native development, that you should learn Java, you should learn, at that time, Objective-C or Swift, or you should go the Xamarin route. And I still think, that Xamarin is a good option. I did a video on iOS or Android, which is better essentially, and I talked a little bit about Xamarin there. And at the time I'm recording this, Microsoft had just bought Xamarin, so that's another plus on the Xamarin side. But on the hybrid side, it's interesting to see where phones are going. And now, 2 years ago, what would happen is when you'd load a hybrid app in your phone, it would be obvious, it'd be slow, you could tell it was really a web page, and it didn't quite have that native feel. But there's been two kind of advancements that have happened in the mobile space. One, certain browsers built into the app have made some of the JavaScript elements look more native. So that's good. And two, the speed of these devices has increased dramatically. Now, I still think that the biggest thing that's holding us back in the technology world today, not just in mobile development, but in technology completely, is battery. I think once we get to the point where we have batteries that perform 10 times better than what we have now, and I believe we will have that breakthrough and it will happen, then we'll have this huge explosion, and one of them will be in processing power on mobile devices. Already processing power on mobile devices is increasing extremely rapidly. So what I would say is that based on those two things, in the future, we're probably not going to be native. It's probably going to be, quote, interpreted. It's probably going to be a hybrid app, and you're going to be able to run apps in the browser. It's going to run so fast that it's not going to make a difference, and we're getting really close there. I'd say even today, like you said, using Ionic framework, you can get to the point where it's really hard to tell that this is a non-native app. So I'm sort of, not sure, right? I'm not sure which way we're going to go. I think that either way that you can make an argument and that you'd be on solid ground. I do think that it's a question of how long will it take for it to get there. I think hybrid app has always been where things are going to go. But before, in the past, I've argued against it because I said, well, who knows how long before the mobile devices get there and catch up to it. And you don't want to put your stake in the ground way up here. Being too early is bad, right? The Apple Newton was the iPad before it was popular, right? It was too early, and Microsoft had a tablet computer before the time of the iPad, right? If you're too early, that's bad. So you don't want to be too early. But I think at this point, it's eminent that it's going to catch up, that hybrid is going to catch up, that the devices are going to become fast enough, that the mobile browsing experience is going to become good enough that you could, and right now you could make a living creating hybrid apps, and that could become the de facto standard in a very short time. So I would say at this point in time, you could go either way. I think that we're not going to have a clear winner or loser. I would personally try and at least have some experience in both sides, to be honest, so that you can go either way. I would pick one as a specific dominant specialty that you're going to choose, and then I would make sure that if I were going with the Ionic and hybrid apps, that I would understand enough about the basics, because I know enough Java and Swift and native application development to at least do some very simple development, so that you can go that direction if you need to. But yeah, I would say at this point, if you wanted to just go hybrid and you felt like that was the future, that would be a safe bet to make, and that you'll do fine with that. But you know, we'll see. In about a year from now, I think we'll know for sure. I think we're about a year away from knowing for sure, and the whole native side could totally collapse under us. I don't think the hybrid side will. So again, now, you know, before where I said put your chips in the native side basket, now I'm saying probably the hybrid side is probably a better place if you're going to put your chips somewhere. So good question, and we'll see. Maybe I'll do an update video in a year from now. If you like this channel, subscribe. Take care.